v'rabotai, Be'ezrat Hashem Mincha this week is going to be 4:35. 4:35 is Mincha. The halacha we were discussing up until now about a brit milah being done on Shabbat, we said that there's a distinction between a brit milah that's bizmano, that it's on the 8th day, then we push off Shabbat and we say do the brit milah, and Shabbat, although we have to be careful about things that aren't connected to the brit milah, but the brit milah itself is done on Shabbat, versus if the brit milah was postponed. Brit milah was postponed, you do not do it on Shabbat. There's another interesting case where a lot of people are not aware of. If a baby was born through a C-section, even if it's the 8th day, it does not push off the Shabbat. And that sometimes people are not aware. Mo'alim are generally used to asking if it was a natural birth, if the Brit Milah is going to be on Shabbat, because it has a nafkamina, you're not allowed to do a Brit Milah that's not natural birth on Shabbat. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But there was a good question. Someone that was one of the listeners asked a good question. He says, I don't understand. Brit Milah is a mitzvah. And we say this mitzvah overrides the Shabbat. But there's no way to do this mitzvah without a knife, correct? You need a special knife to do this mitzvah. And we have very similar circumstances where the Chachamim suspended a mitzvah that's supposed to be done on Shabbat because of a concern you might come to carry. For example, shofar. Rosh Hashanah falls out on Shabbat. There's a mitzvah to hear the shofar. And the Chachamim said, no, even though it's a Torah mitzvah to hear the shofar, we're afraid you might come to carry the shofar. Same thing is true by Sukkot. Sukkot falls out on Shabbat. The first day of Sukkot to take the lulav is deoraita. It's from the Torah. Ulkachtem lachem bayom harishon. And the Chachamim said, do not take the lulav. And of course, the arba'a minim on Shabbat, because of the concern you might come to carry. The same thing would be true with Mikra Megillah. You would not carry the Megillah on Shabbat in order to read the Megillah because of the concern that you won't be able to read the Megillah on Shabbat because of the concern you might come to carry. So we find in several mitzvot that the Chachamim suspended the mitzvah so that you don't come to violate Shabbat. And then the question asks itself, if so, why by Brit Milah is the halacha differently? That we say, no, the Torah said to do it on the 8th day, so we're going to do it on the 8th day, and we're not going to be concerned. We should have the same concern that, oh, maybe I forgot the knife at home or something like that, and I'll come to carry the knife on Shabbat. And carrying the knife is not something that permits the violation of Shabbat. Only the Brit Milah itself you're allowed to do on Shabbat. That's Tuche Shabbat. Everything else, all the preparation beforehand, has to be done before Shabbat. So why aren't we concerned that he might come to carry the knife on Shabbat? I'm going to let you think about that. There actually happens to be several answers, and a few very, very cute, clever answers, and good answers, of course. And anybody that comes up with it will get a special prize. You'll get a hug. Baruch Adonai Le'olam.